Hey YouTube, how's it going? Heir of Carthage back. It's been a while since I've actually made a commentary. Now, you've seen the Tokugawa campaign vids come up, but those are actually still videos that I recorded before I left for California. I recorded quite a lot of Tokugawa footage, so I kind of know what's going to happen in the near future on it. You, however, have to put up with my suspenseful cliffhanger in between video shots. Seems like a lot of you get mad at me for that, but hey, I bet you enjoy it more when it gets to that point. So yeah, here's all the people waiting on me to return their messages. Unfortunately, I've been busy, so if you're seeing your name up here, then I apologize. It looks like there's quite a few of them. Devil Matt, Tavington, Heir of the Mistoses or something. Yeah, Alien Stevo. Yeah, anyway, there's a bunch of people waiting on me to reply. Sorry I haven't. It seems like there's some spot where I was gonna show you the news, because Shogun 2 was actually updated, but I'll just go ahead and show you a couple of differences, and I'll try and get you some footage of the actual changes. If you go in here to options, you're going to notice the graphics options have changed substantially. And when you start the game, you have the option of running it in DirectX 11. So if your video card is DirectX 11 compliant, then you're going to be able to have some graphics options on this game that are not offered otherwise. And anyway, you can see that I have everything on the ultra settings. There's a few of these things I don't turn on, but I like depth of field. It shows you your graphics card and how much memory it has. I've got it set to DirectX 11. And the cool thing is now I can up this to the highest shader model. I have anisotropic 16x filtering, which wasn't available to me previously, and then I have MSAA 8 times. I don't really know exactly what that means, but as far as the anti-aliasing, it's here. And it's working, and my gosh, I can't even describe to you how great the game looks with all this stuff. And now I'm going to get the opportunity to show you that. So yeah, that's the new graphics options that are there. They've patched the classic battles and many other things that needed fixing. I actually have a couple of neat replays to show you. Hopefully you'll like these. One of them is a classic battle, and then the other is a team battle that I recently played with Huntsman Tavington, who I think I showed you a battle with previously online, and one of his friends, I think it was Grenadier Guard was his name. Let me see if I can find the replay. Yeah, it's actually, I think it's this one right here. I think it's this replay right here. We'll find out. If it's not, then obviously I won't be showing this. Yeah, we played a bunch of 3v3s on the I was about to say grassy flats, on the rice field. However, I figured out some interesting stuff about the rice field. I'm not generally a huge fan of flat maps, but there are some interesting nuances about the rice fields that I've learned, and something that I think that you would be interested in knowing. You can see our opponents there, you can see my teammates there, you can also see that I'm going to be holding the center. And there's a big difference that you want to take when it comes to team strategy as opposed to individual strategy. One of the biggest things you don't want to do wrong in a team is you don't want to be reckless and get yourself killed early, because then that's going to leave your teammates extremely vulnerable to being overrun on the flanks. And yeah, I mean, that can be a big issue. You don't want to let that happen. Hopefully this will go ahead, and it does take just slightly longer to get into my game now that there's different graphic options, but from what I've noticed in-game, it doesn't have any effect on my frame rates. In fact, my frame rates actually seem to be working even better with all this added graphics with Fraps on. So I know, like right now, Fraps is telling me I'm getting almost 30 frames per second while recording, and that's with all this sweet graphics. Now check out that depth of field. That is freaking amazing. And then check out the filtering level on the units, and the shadows, the grass, everything looks absolutely beautiful. Here, I'll get you a nice little view of my army there. So yeah, everything's looking really good. And you might notice, like, I can scroll up, you know, you can see into the clouds here. It's got the nice distortion effects. Yeah, anyway, it's just absolutely beautiful. Graphics are very much improved. CA, you've done a fine job. I know it was a long time waiting and some of us were getting impatient, but I have to say that this game now looks extraordinary. I mean, it looked pretty good as it was, but I mean, just absolutely phenomenal on the graphics now. So let me show you the army I brought. I'm not going to have time to describe all the troops and all the armies, but I can go ahead and tell you that I have 4 bow warrior monks. My center is made up of my really tough sword units, and I'm using my sword retainers. I can show you my retainers after the battle, just to show you my sword retainers. I actually use different retainers for different types of fights. So I have 5 of my 5 to 6 chevron katanas, and then I have a few units of I think I have a couple of units of Longsword Ashigaru. Yeah, I have one of them on either flank. And my cavalry is just 2 Great Guard units. I do that sometimes rather than bringing my upgraded Yari because it's about the same price and you actually get more bang for your buck with unupgraded Great Guard as opposed to, well actually this is one of my Yari Cav right there. That's my Patchy Guards. Alright, so over here on my left is Tavington. He's got a bow-heavy army also. He's got 4 bow warrior monks up front, just like me. And then right behind them he's got, it looks like 4 units of Naginata monks. And then he's got his upgraded katana samurai behind them. His cavalry is composed of a couple of Yari, upgraded Yari Cav. Let's see, I'll go show you Grenadier's army. Now, our opponents were actually very crafty, and I didn't get to save the replay because it booted me out of the game too quick, but these guys, we were playing and we were doing pretty good as a team, and these guys came on, I don't know if they were randoms or what, but they beat us, and they were pretty impressive. So, I mean, these guys were not just any old pushover random opponents. They played extremely well, and you can see what they're doing here as they're attempting a gang up. That's why they're condensing their forces right to here, and they're hoping to probably overwhelm one of us before, let's see, what's his name? Oh, Grenadier Guard, sorry, before Grenadier Guard can get over here to take us. So that's kind of what they're hoping for, is a quicker knockout. Now when I played these guys before, I did not bring my veteran katana units, and I actually figured this to be one of my better armies. I don't really know if that's the case or not, but I think it's one of my better armies. It's one of the ones I do best with. And these veteran katana units are extremely tough. They have about 23 attack, and if I inspire them or rally around them, then they just get even tougher. They have great morale. And then I brought these bow warrior monks because last time the enemy bow warrior monks chewed up my my veteran bow ashigaru. So I just wanted to be able to have the same range this time. Now check out those sweet fire arrow effects. Yeah, I mean the effects are so good in this game. And you got to see the matchlock effects. They've improved that as well. Check this out. Check out this brutal carnage. Flaming monk, anyone? I think it's the new delicacy. So anyway, yeah, my bow warrior monks are duking it out with the enemy bow warrior monks. There they are out in the distance. There's a nice epic shot. Pretty cool. Yeah, the skirmish portion of this phase or of this battle is kind of necessary because on the grassy flats, I find rush armies to be a little bit reckless. Just because you can take so many missile casualties since you don't have any terrain cover or anything. Now these rice paddies actually provide some cover to your light infantry units, and so it was kind of foolish of me not to capture this. So that's what makes the grassy flatlands slightly different than the rice fields. This actually does provide cover, and there's a key building, and of course there's forest on the edges of the map. So it kind of makes this map a little more interesting, albeit I don't want to give it too much credit. Now my bow warrior monks are doing pretty good. These opposing bow warrior monks are very upgraded. So the good thing about that is my enemy has spent a lot more koku on missile troops than I have, which theoretically should mean that my infantry could be equally as tough as his, if not tougher. But you can see some of his units. This katana samurai right here has 9 chevrons. This one has 8 chevrons, 8 chevrons. So I mean, this guy does have some seriously tough infantry, but so do I at the same token. So it should help make up for it. So I brought my Great Guard up here in an attempt to chase off some of his men. I forgot he had that matchlock unit there, so I'm definitely going to have to get them out of there. You can see that we pretty well have our opponents encircled, though, as much as we can. Yeah, so here's Tavington just kind of holding his opponents out on the edge of the map. And basically Grenadier Guard is helping to complete the encirclement. And our hope is that since these guys immediately rushed over at the beginning, that we can end up using that to our advantage to try and encircle them. So yeah, it's not exactly a short battle. There's a pretty intense skirmishing phase that's gonna get going here. He's got some matchlock warrior monks out here. I definitely got to be careful with these guys. These are some tough units, and they can extend their range to 125 for a short period of time as well. I did do pretty good against my my opponent's archers. I've pushed them back, at least for the moment, but he does have quite a few of them left. I need to get rid of this matchlock warrior monk unit, though. So I'm going to now concentrate my bow fire on them because I don't want them damaging my infantry at my approach. You've seen me use these matchlock warrior monks before. Definitely tough units. They can cause some serious damage if given the opportunity. So here's my bow warrior monks exchanging fire with them. These guys are freaking awesome. They are expensive though, so they definitely cost. And you can pretty easily mess up a you can pretty easily mess up a matchlock unit with bows. It's just that if you have a bunch of matchlock units that are able to close the distance with bows, then it can get ugly. But if it's just one like this, I should be able to cause them pretty substantial damage with fairly minimal losses. I started running this longsword unit forward. That's an attempt to start soaking up volleys from these enemy missile units so that I can hopefully move my infantry forward. Yep, so there's my infantry. It was very spread out. I did that to try and hold the center. I didn't want anybody to be able to outflank me. The only problem with them being spread out is now you can see it's going to take longer for me to get them all into an area to fight. So that's one of the reasons why I don't typically like to spread out my army, is because then you become a lot less mobile. That's why I usually like to run in a block formation. Now these guys are not, I think I finally get them into tight formation, there I do, and they're up against a 7 chevron warrior monk. So this unit of warrior monks is freaking bad news. But you can see my men are actually getting quite a few kills on him for just longsword Ashigaru, though my men are taking a pretty severe thrashing. But his unit does cost a whole lot more than my longsword unit. And so for me to be able to cause this much damage with this is I think a 550 Koku unit, and heaven knows how much that warrior monk unit cost. So yeah, it's definitely worth it to me. Now I've got some katana samurai in here as well to back up. So this is going to be a very, very tough grinding match between a lot of very excellent infantry. My opponent's attempting to outflank me with these Naginata warrior monks here, but I've got yet another unit of katana samurai coming in too. So I'm going to really pour on the heat here and put the hurt on these expensive warrior monk units. There's a Yari Ashigaru unit there that's wavering, and now his monk unit is starting to get thrashed too. And check it out, my sword fodder unit is still in the fight. That's how tough those sword units are, and they have an advantage against these spear and Naginata units in close combat. Not to mention, I also have retainers boosting my melee defense, so my sword units are much less vulnerable to the attack of the Naginata. That was a pretty cool stabbing. So yeah, anyway, that's going to be a brutal fight there. And this is a huge fight. You can see from the mini-map up there. I'll pull that up bigger where you can see. It's a huge fight. Right now the point of main conflict is right here in the center. Now remember, my team is this black color over there, and Huntsman is Tavington, the other black color there, and the enemy team is the red, the green, and the gray. Just so you can help try and get that straight. So all the dark colors are my team. And you can tell on the mini-map my team is the blue. So yeah, you can see my katana infantry are really pouring the heat onto the enemy infantry. And then also Grenadier Guard is pouring the heat onto the flank over here with his troops. Not exactly sure what all kind of troops he brought, and it's going to be pretty much impossible for me to tell at this point. Here I'm trying to do some hammer and anvil action with my Apache's guards onto this one of these insane katana. This is one of the 9 chevron katana units. So yeah, these guys are tough. Grenadier Guard's got his cabin there as well. And you'll notice that Tavington is still just kind of holding his flank over here. And the purpose of this is he's giving Grenadier Guard and I a chance to try and wrap up a bit of flank. And if the battle were to start to turn against us, he could attack full force and try and occupy as many enemy units over here as he can. But you can see that he is already occupying quite a few enemy units, and that's good. And because this green player is having to fight on 2 different flanks, it's probably diverting some of his attention, which is badly needed. So even though my sword units are extremely tough, you know, they're still going to take a walloping from some of these very tough enemy infantry units as well. But you can see that Grenadier Guard and I are starting to wrap up pretty hard on the 2 enemy players opposite of us. You can see that the gray flags are pretty much gone. So the gray player is pretty much out of the fight, and the green player is taking a pretty savage beating, trying to finish us off. So here I got my katana samurai. This is Katana You Face. They're charging into these warrior monks. Yeah, those 7 and 8 chevron warrior monks, those guys are really, really tough. You have to be extremely careful of them. Their morale is pretty much unbreakable. They'll nearly fight to the death, and their attack and defense is off the charts. They are still vulnerable to missiles though, but you can see that our opponents weren't going to give us a whole lot of opportunity to make that happen. But now Tavington's going to enter the fight. He's got a bunch of Naginata monks and a lot of katana samurai. So now that the battle has started to turn on the other flank, Tavington's going to start putting pressure on as well. This has been one big, messy fight, so hopefully you enjoy it. Some of you wanted to see a fight that was similar to that one I put up on Napoleon a long time ago, that big 4v4. It was kind of an epic battle. This was a pretty epic battle too. Our opponents were very tough, had very tough armies, and they did not make this easy for us. You can see that they're still fighting off Grenadier Gardenai quite well. He's got some Naginata samurai coming in from a couple of different angles. My army is mostly dead at this point because I've had to grind down so many units of Naginata monks and other extremely tough units. So my infantry is pretty much gone. I do have this Katana Face unit that finished chewing up this Naginata monk, but that's pretty much all I have left. And now they're starting to waver also. And look, here's a Katana Hero unit. That's just what my guys want to see. After all the people they had to kill, then this Katana Hero unit charges in. So poor Katana Face, they put up a tough fight, but this Katana Hero unit is probably just going to blast them on open ground. Katana Heroes are insanely tough. Let's see if my men are holding in there or not. No, my men are getting thrashed. Yeah, just 8 men in that Katana unit came up and tore up a whole bunch. Well, actually now they're starting to waver. Oh sweet, I have reinforcements. So actually they managed to survive. Wow. Like I said, this was a pretty epic fight. Good game to my opponents. Good game to my teammates. I hope I got you some good footage. Got to show off some of these graphics. I got another battle to help show off some of these new graphics with. It just looks amazing, and I actually think I have the results screen from this battle as well. So if I do, I'll put it in there. If you don't see it, it's because I accidentally deleted it. I know I don't have the results screen in my next battle, but you should enjoy the next one as well.
You left the game.
I didn't know I had left the game.
No penalty against it. Right, I want that. So,